Hello, folks. Welcome back to the last game of the regular split for the Friend or Foe series, Luna League. I am your friendly neighborhood Jackcaster Shark, and I have joining me on the Caster Jacks War Leader, and we have got Church of Alfonso versus the Universal Basic Income.
This is going to be a banger, and I'm expecting both teams to, well, I was going to say put forth their best, but we see a Teemo ban off the back, so who knows what we're going to get out of this one. This game is important for playoff implications. If Universal Basic Income lose, they're going to need to play a tiebreaker versus H-Block, and Church of Alfonso definitely want to be the team to knock the Catboys down a peg.
Dude, and if they manage to do that, just imagine the hype it's going to be on their shoulders then. It's going to be even more exciting. Once again, we have the Amumu getting let through, getting at first picked, and a cat. There we go. We've got a Yubi picked up, immediately followed by a Shen.
Okay, that's an interesting start. We're going to see the Yuumi finally come out for Universal Basic Income. We've been waiting for that one for a while. And Shen is also a really interesting pick to see out the gate. Going over to Freelancer, going to give this team a lot of map pressure, a lot of ways to protect one person.
It is, and you know, it's I've actually been seeing a lot of Yumis lately, but they've been in Earth with Hekarims, and let me tell you, that is one of the scariest things I have ever seen. And so seeing a Thresh over there, it's terrifying, but not quite as scary as that.
Yep, this means that it's actually going to be LTY in the jungle piloting that Amumu, and the Shen is going to be answered with a Cho'Gath up in that top lane.
That is going to be an interesting matchup just because of the fact that you're going to have such a massive amount of tank coming out from Paytime as this game progresses and gets towards the later stages. So that should allow him to do a lot. But at the same time, he's going to have to deal with a Sivir and a Yuumi. And that's just already kind of gross because the Sivir's going to be moving around and then they get the Zoomies. Oh, my goodness.
Shen ult over the top means he can't kill the Sivir.
Mm-hmm.
The Sivir delivers the Shen right on top of the enemy team. We got a very interesting conf coming out from Universal Basic Income out the gate. Church of Alfonso have drafted themselves a pretty nasty front line for themselves. We're going to have to see what damage comes from behind. And you know what champion likes running fast with a Yuumi? It is Olaf. The classic Yuumi abuser in the jungle coming through for utility monster in this one.
You know, I don't know which is worse, a Hecarim or an Olaf. All I know is that one of them you can stop, the other one you can't.
Pretty much. We might be seeing a Draven as the answer to the Sivir Yuumi bot lane. Try and snowball really fast. Let's see if that goes through. It will. It's going to be Cold Blaster's Draven along with the Thresh in the bottom lane, trying to shut down the scaling machine that is this Yuumi.
Straight up, I think that is probably one of the best options you've got because you've got a Sivir who will be able to do a lot of damage late game. However, you just try and kill her as quickly as possible because it is technically, in a way, a 2v1 with Yuumi just basically being untargetable most of the time. So that's going to be really interesting. And if the cat does decide to hop off, you just immediately burst it down, and that's going to be a lot of resources from this for the Sivir taken away.
Absolutely. We're going to see Ukshan as the last pick coming through Church of Alfonso, giving more solid DPS to their comp. Little worried about the magic damage, but Cho'Gath and Amumu do quite a bit. With Amumu coming in that jungle position, should be able to output quite a bit. We might see Galio come through for Universal Basic Income, the final piece to this run-fast global in composition, yes. So you've got a Galio delivery system, a Shen delivery system, and that delivery system is the unstoppable, unkillable Olaf with Yuumi attached, boosted by Sivir. We're seeing a very interesting combo coming out from the side of Yuumi, and I can't wait to see how it matches up to this.
I am looking forward to this as well. It is going to be one exciting match.
Absolutely. So as we get into the game here, let's look for any shenanigans out the gate. So we are seeing Cold Blaster is going to be the one piloting the Cho'Gath in the top lane, LTY on the Thresh. Beshiwap is actually going to be the one piloting the Draven as Church of Alfonso looks for an invade, but I think Civillock has seen it.
It's really interesting. I do like their disengage, their choice of it's a little disappointing. I feel like Paytime could have locked onto Civillock right there, and they would have been able to get a decent amount of damage with the double Amumu bandage tosses, but they're going to go the safe route, just kind of show themselves and then back off.
Yeah, you don't know who else is waiting in the bushes there, so safe enough. Paytime almost dodging the combination of skill shots, but going to get hit. Interestingly enough, it's a lethal tempo Sivir, which could indicate it's not the usual lethality Sivir that we've been seeing quite
Hmm.
often in recent months. So that is going to be interesting from Mr. Chunks. Opted to take the barrier, so there's going to be 3 defensive combat summoners down in that bottom lane with the barrier, the heal, and the exhaust.
You know, I actually really like that choice because you're up against a Draven, and that makes it a situation of a hard engage lane. So you want to keep your ADC alive for as long as possible, providing all of those resources in order to do so. By choosing to go the lethal tempo route, I do like the idea that they'll be able to. Ooh, we got a nice dodge right there in order to avoid the thresh hook. Lots of good early engage from the side over here on Draven.
Yep. So we're going to see Draven start to take over in this bottom lane already. Mr. Chunks has been chunked and now has to back off as Beshiwap gets to freely secure level 2 for themselves. And the Yuumi and the Sivir can only sit back and watch what Draven does.
Yeah, and it's just, this is kind of how they expect the bot lane to go. They're going to expect it to be pretty darn pushed in just because they want to have the safety of the tower. Again, the whole name of the game is get Sivir as much CS as they possibly can so that they can eventually get to that 500 CS win condition and then just steamroll the rest of the game.
Absolutely. We just saw some heavy trading in the top lane going Freelancer's way in this early game. Cold Blaster needs to respect Shen's early Q damage. Cho'Gath's going to need a little more time to become a ferocious monster.
Ooh, good edge taunt right there as we see Cold Blaster getting exceptionally low. They are ignited as well. So that is going to be the summoner spell down for Freelancer. They have a great advantage at the moment against this Cho'Gath because of the fact that they've taken away that flash, but the TP is still up. So even if they manage to kill the Cho'Gath, they have to be aware that whatever health bar their health bar is at is going to be a easy pickings for the Cho'Gath to come back to.
Absolutely. As we pan back to the spot lane, we really started to see the sustain coming through. Sivir, who was chunked out, already back at full health, and it's actually going to be Church of Alfonso.
Those zoomies.
Yep, the Prowling Projectiles are going to clock Draven upside the head, start to damage him, but importantly, there is a potion difference for the side of Draven early in this one. There is potions on the side of Universal Basics Income's bot lane, but it's actually going to be on the Yuumi, which is a bit of an awkward choice you don't normally see. LTY going to find a flay onto Brian saying he can't convert off.
Not quite able to, but at the same time, we got the spinning axes already starting to do a lot of work right there. Nice hook catching out Brian saying gonna take a tower shot and go down. That's gonna be first blood over to Draven. Draven getting that extra gold from the stacks. The Grand Executioner looking for another kill. He's trying to chase down Mr. Chunks, but he's gonna be able to get away. And unfortunately, Draven's gonna be like, it's fine. I'll get you next time.
Oh, if Draven had seen the lantern that LTY put down, that would have almost surely been Mr. Chunks' flash blown, but I know how it feels to not see lanterns, so no disrespect coming out to Beshiwap, but a bit of a missed opportunity, could have had more. That being said, very little is scarier than a Draven first blood to start out a game, finding Brian Sang not attached to the Sivir of safety.
Of all the people to get it, that is the worst one to get that first blood. You are absolutely right on that. Cold Blaster trying to hit the Rupture, just barely misses it, and unfortunately, Cho'Gath is going to get caught out once again by the Shen Dash. It just, Freelancer doing a really good job making sure to catch him right on the edge of it so that he is able to get him just on the tip.
Yeah, and we're seeing Freelancer take a pretty dominating lead in terms of CS in this top side. Cold Blaster has done a pretty good job to sustain back up in the lane, to continue going through the lane, not having to burn that teleport summoner spell.
RHC diving in on the Akshan. He is going to get taunted, though, but Civillock's already really low. Unfortunately, not low enough.
Yeah, Civillock still had flash, so the kill threat wasn't too deep in there. Civillock probably going to have to burn that teleport to prevent RHC from freezing this one in the mid lane, but it looks like
Paytime doing the Spider-Man swing across the mid lane.
Got a couple Spider-Men between the Suction and this Amumu, and it looks like Civillock's going to teleport in using that speed boost, trying to find an angle, but not quite.
I was not expecting that TP or for Paytime to hang out in the mid lane as long as he has. In the meantime, though, we do have this nice engage here in the top lane. Cold Blaster trying to get some autos off, but is not able to do it as that Spirit Veil is just protecting Freelancer, and he's just like, okay, it's fine.
Absolutely. Paytime went mid lane to try and help RHC shove that one in, which forces Civilok to use that TP. So I think it's actually really heads up play from Church of Alfonso to make that play, almost get caught out for it, but not quite able to find the engage back. So a good play from Church of Alfonso, and they're actually going to immediately convert that into this Mountain Drake.
Yeah, now I've talked with the Cat Boys a couple of times about just the game in general and such, and one of the things we've talked about is just the dragons, and they kind of seem to view the first two dragons as lost causes, essentially. Like, where it's like, we're basically just going to kind of let them go over, don't really prioritize them, focusing on other things. If it's an Infernal or a Mountain Drake, we'll try to get them, but at the same time, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, and I think that's fair to an extent, but you have to be really careful about Snowball, though, because a 20-minute Dragon Soul can mean you're doomed regardless of composition. And with Beshiwap out to a very strong start, a Mountain Drake is definitely what these tanks like Thresh and Amumu and Cho'Gath want to see come through. So a good lead for the Church of Alfonso in the early game. Perhaps that is to YUBI's plan.
And as we can see in the mid lane, we've got Akshan just trying to be the sneaky sneak. He's trying to just doing his little thing, just hanging out. But he's able to put out a little bit of damage on his Civilok, though Olaf is just waiting right in the wings, ready to engage on this if necessary. Meantime, though, we do have LTY. He has decided to make an appearance in this mid lane. Well, in the bush at least. There he goes. Now he's actually showing his face right there. Lantern's coming out. Hook is going as well. Flash is already burned on the side of Galio. That is going to be the Curse of the Sad Mummy coming out from the Lantern pull. We have the Shen joining as well, though, and that is going to be Akshan trying to get the execute off, but we've got too many sources of blocking coming in the way, and that is going to allow Civilok to survive.
Yeah, meanwhile, in the bot lane, a big fight comes out, 1v2, and Beshiwap almost wins it, but ultimately multiple defensive summoner spells burned from both sides. Mr. Chunks is quite low, but Yubi should be able to keep that Sivir healthy. Very well played by LTY in the mid lane. Ultimately, the Shen is able to use that Stand United to save his mid laner Civilok, but it means that Cold Blaster's actually going to start to creep up a CS advantage in that top side, so ultimately I still think it's a very good play from Church of Alfonso. Another hook
coming over the wall. That is a good job right there by LTY to catch out Freelancer. Freelancer getting exceptionally low. He's going to have to flash over the wall, over to the red buff. He's going to dash over the wall as well. Double flashes on the side of over here for Paytime and RHC. So that is going to be another set of resources down, and that is just going to basically result in a red buff smited away by Olaf, but he's going to probably give up his life right here, although we have Galio coming in and trying to save him, getting a nice knockup. This fight is just continuing. Yubi has decided to join, and it's about to show why the Olaf with the Yubi is just so terrifying. He's dropped off. Brian Sang is trying to jump back onto the utility monster. We're waiting for those zoomies to come back to see if he's able to use it, but it looks like LTY is already ready for it. We got the flash coming out. Utility monster getting a nice hook throw as well, and that is going to be the shutdown. RHC, though, is going to revive LTY as he takes down, revive the Thresh. So the undead Warden is once again back. Just so much happening during this fight. Now Civilok is going to try and continue with his RHC getting exceptionally low. Galio getting a lot of damage off from his little whirlwinds. And then we have Yubi just trying to continue it, getting the shields off. And that is going to be the kill going over to Brian Sang.
Yeah, it was actually really critical how Brian Sang was utilizing the red buff to keep the Ukshan slowed, ultimately resulting in RHC's demise. LTY has been putting on an absolute show on this Thresh, but in doing so, overstayed his welcome over in that bottom side, and multiple members of Church of Alfonso go down, and the gold lead is now in favor of Yubi.
But it was perfectly okay as Akshan was able to bring him back just a little bit early. So that was to his advantage. So much was happening during that fight that I just lost track of all of the absolute craziness.
Absolutely.
All right. It looks like we got a nice engage here in the bot lane as well. Got some spinning axes thrown out, but unfortunately not quite able to connect with their intended targets.
Yep, not quite. We're seeing the Thresh back in the bot lane, though, so maybe we can see
Paytime's
Draven.
looking to get himself paid. In the meantime, in the top lane, we have got Freelancer jumping onto Cold Blaster. I love how there's something exciting happening in the bot lane. We can't see it, but then we got the camera dropping back down. Unfortunately,
looks like the Curse
crazy.
of the Sad Mummy was used, trying to catch out that Sivir, but Spell Shield was good enough to block that one.
Yep.
Paytime not able to find a clear angle for the
Look at the damage Freelancer's putting out onto Cold Blaster.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen Cold Blaster kind of getting beaten up in this top side, and I honestly think it's okay for the Cho'Gath. You know your job is to scale throughout this one. Shen has a deceptively strong laning phase, so as long as he gets
in the meantime, we got a fight going on here in the bot lane jungle, and an Ignite coming out on the top lane. Cold Blaster getting really low. Freelancer taking a couple of tower shots is going to put them in danger of getting chomped, but lucky for him, it's on cooldown, so he doesn't have to worry about getting devoured, but that Rupture getting really close right there.
Absolutely.
But he's going to dive on the tower. Get exciting. He's going to get taken out. That is going to be a 1-for-1 in the top lane.
Yeah, it looks like that. Ultimately, the result of all of this is that Yubi's going to pick up that Cloud Dragon, that ultimate ability haste. Going to be very nice for these multiple globals on the side of Yubi. They're absolutely stoked to have that one.
Although now we've got the Ocean Drake rearing its head, and right there we got a nice taunt on the Akshan. Akshan getting really low. RHC is in a lot of trouble, but we got the Thresh Lantern coming out. The damage as well. Paytime trying to save his buddy, but he's not quite able to do it. And unfortunately, LTY is going to be the one who picks up that kill, and Akshan is going to fall.
RHC pushing his luck just a little too far. It was a great bait and a great early execution, but you know that a Mumu and Thresh can output enough damage to secure the kill. Just back off, give it over, don't die. But ultimately, RHC does go down, meaning that Civillock trades as a result of that catch.
Well, you see, the thing is, RHC can't retreat because he really hates cowards.
Understandable. We see Utility Monster going ham on this tower. Paytime has to come to respond.
I love talking about these top lane fights because they're kind of pool noodly, but for a Shen, he seems to have filled his pool noodle with, like, he's stuck it up against the water jet. Oh, right here in the bot lane, we've got the Zoomies coming out. We've got Sivir trying to get some damage onto Beshiwap. Thresh is throwing at the Lantern. We got a nice drop in. The Executioner's axes are throwing, but they're not able to find their targets again. Beshi's gonna have to run away to stay alive as the Stand United drops down, saving Mr. Chunks. We got the Thresh Death Sentence trying to find a target, not quite able to. Unfortunately for Mr. Chunks, he got caught by the Curse of the Sad Mummy, but the Zoomies are still there, keeping him alive, but gonna get caught by a bandage taunt, and the Tantrum is gonna take him out.
Very nice from Paytime, able to find that beautiful angle to secure that one. It was looking like both teams
Utility Monster punishing this Cho'Gath in order for trying to hit the top lane tower. He's like, look, you're gonna try and take it. I'm gonna chop you to bits. And he might be picking up a second kill, though, as we see Akshan has come to this top lane. He's trying to get the damage off. Utility Monster is getting him exceptionally low. RHC getting the Utility Monster, gonna almost take him down and get the revive, but unfortunately for him, Utility Monster is just a beat.
Yep, absolutely. You can't disrespect this Olaf like that. You know that when he gets low, he gets so much stronger off of that passive, off of that W. So Akshan trying to get revenge isn't going to work. The Utility Monster picks up a double.
Yep, and this is going to be a really interesting mid-lane game. Ooh, good taunt by Civillox. He managed to catch out the Sad Mummy. He makes him think he's his friend, but unfortunately that is not the case.
Not at all. Paytime walking up a little too far, trying to make up for RHC's mistake in the top lane. It's going to get punished himself. Things are going bad to worse so far this game as we get to the 15-minute mark. Mid lane outer tower is destroyed first for the side of YUBI. Gonna pick up that first tower gold on their way to a 3,000 gold lead just 15 minutes into this one.
Yeah, Church of Alfonso had a really strong start, but unfortunately for them, the universal basic income builds up over time, my friends, and that is exactly where they're starting to go. They are showing why they are a team that just has to be feared.
Absolutely. This Olaf has been terrifying whether or not the Yumi's been involved. The Yumi's been the benefactor of a lot of these kills, making Yumi very, very strong. Civillock has been able to find opportunities in the mid lane to catch people out with that taunt. So far, everything is going Yubi's way.
It's the long-term investment that you've got on the side of the Universal Basic Income.
Well, that long-term investment has already paid its dividends at 15 minutes, so we'll have to see if that cash continues coming through for the rest of this one. There are scaling elements on the side of Church of Alfonso that you do have to watch out for, and the Draven has not died yet, so there's a lot of gold to be potentially had if the Draven can find just one kill opportunity.
It'd be really interesting if we could see exactly how many stacks that they have at the moment, because that execute could be getting really, really high right about now. And as the game starts to progress, it's going to be really, really interesting to see if he's actually able to hit it off on the edge. He does not have an Executioner's Culling built, or he has the Executioner's Culling built. He does not have...
Mortal Reminder?
No, not the Mortal... I'm blanking on the item's name. The gun. The pistol. I'm blanking on the pistol's name. The musket thing. It's fine. I just forget the names of words sometimes. It happens.
All good. Right now, we do see that the Draven is pretty well ahead of the Sivir right now in terms of the item inventory. And as this Ocean Drake spawns, we're going to see both teams coming to fight.
All right, we got a nice fight right here around the bot lane. The Yumi's dropping the ultimate, getting some nice roots up. They're showing them why Book has got so much to say. Right here, we're seeing the power of the Sivir. We got a double kill coming out. A lot of damage, and we got a double kill coming out on the Olaf as well. And Universal Basic Income picks up an ace and an easy Ocean Drake to just continue to build their portfolio.
Yep, everybody on the side of YUBI pressed R, and there was absolutely nothing that Church of Alfonso could do about it. The comp is sufficiently online, and wow, what is that Draven supposed to do? What is Uxin supposed to do? There's no way they can put damage when the Olaf immediately on top of AoE knockup coming through next. Speed boost coming out from the Yuumi and the Sivir stand united over the top means the Olaf is unkillable. Draven cannot run away, cannot CC him, and wow, what a combination.
That was absolutely terrifying to watch. And am I blind, or did I see a flash onto that tower to make sure that it died quick enough for the Red Trail to get a second charge?
You know, I think that's what happened.
just making sure. I'm pretty sure that it was Olaf, but I'm not positive on that. I'm just kind of like, wait, did I see that? I'm not really sure.
Yep. So as we get into this mid-game, everything is going Yubi's way right now. They have 6,000 gold. They've taken out 3 towers, 1 in the middle lane, 2 in the bottom lane. Have 2 dragons, a cloud, and an ocean for themselves. It is Ocean Soul this game, and if they pick that one up, it is over. But it might be over long before that, as so far their composition has been devastating.
Yep, and just a second ago, it was 5 to 15 at 18-18. So that was kind of one of those situations where it's like, this game is really not going well for Church of Alfonso. But what we've got kind of exciting happening up here in the top lane is a bunch of people are going to be start pushing up. We've got a 4-man push. Utility Monster now has his favorite Catboy just sitting on his shoulder for the rest of this game as he just starts to become an absolutely terrifying beast that is going to do a huge tower dive here in just a second.
Yep, there's going to be no way to stop. He's going to start with proxying the way, wait for the minions to get there. Just wait to see an opportunity.
LTY is like, look, he sees it coming. He throws out the lantern and already starts running away, but it's not going to be enough. The can't be disabled. Olaf runs in. The Ragnarok is here as you just see him absolutely wrecking through the entirety of Church of Alfonso.
Yeah, and my goodness, I don't understand what you can do about that. I think you might have needed to just revise your game plan and try again, because at this point I don't see a single angle unless Utility Monster does something absolutely asinine. Now, Church of Alfonso just have to grin and bear it and try and look for opportunities.
They're going to have to try and grit and try to play around the Ragnarok. Unfortunately, that thing doesn't have a cooldown. So it's almost up already. Exactly. Cloud Drake is already up. This is going to be another top turret over for the side of for the side of Universal Basic Income. Church of Alfonso just having the life slowly choked out of them at this point.
I don't even know if it's going to be that slow. I mean, it might be slow in terms of what's possible, but it's not going to be long for Church of Alfonso at this rate, as YUBI are winning in every fight, every facet of the game.
LTY getting a nice steal on the Wolf.
Yeah, LTY's performed pretty well in terms of the hooks this game, but unfortunately the hooks aren't going to matter against a target that is unstoppable and the multiple globals getting on top of your team. I really like the way that LTY has played this game. Pretty inspiring and fresh. I'm just not sure it's enough.
It's unfortunate when you've got something that is unstoppable. Trying to deal with it is just so frustrating. Even if it's something like a Kled, or I'm trying to think of other champs who have that. Hecarim ult. It's like basically you're kind of just stuck staring your death in the face. And there's really not much you can do at that point except try and kill it before it gets to you. When it's got the zoomies, there's not much you can do.
Absolutely. We've seen Olaf get out to 3 levels above anyone on the side of Church of Alfonso. The solo laners had a very rough time. The Draven not able to snowball super effectively, going to be at about the same level as their counterparts. Actually a slight lead over the Sivir overall, but the Sivir is not here to do damage. The Sivir is here to press the R key and see what happens next. RHC getting caught.
There we go. Freelancer jumping right into RHC. RHC taking a lot of damage as he gets ignited, tries to run away. He tries to sneak out of there, but he was ignited, so he couldn't re-engage. And unfortunately, that's just going to be him forced away. This bot lane is in such a precarious position because the only tier 2 left is in the mid lane, and you've already got so much pressure from the side of YUBI just pushing in every direction. You got to wonder if where they're going to eventually get this Baron call.
Yeah, I have to imagine it's going to come through any time
now. Mid lane. This is kind of interesting. We have the Galio joining this right here. The taunt is already out as we see him gliding in. Tower dive is coming as well. The curse of the sad mummy's trying to lock everybody down. But the thing is, Ragnarok doesn't care about how sad you are. It's going to kill you anyway.
Yeah, we actually, for a second, it looked like Utility Monster might have been mortal there, but there's still the Gore Drinker. There's still the Yuumi. There's still an Exhaust. He was fine. He still has Flash. So, as close as that Olaf looked to maybe showing a hint of weakness, there's so many more tools in the back pocket for Utility Monster to use to stay alive. And they're going to go and secure themselves Soul Point, and I'm honestly surprised they don't just choose to walk over Church of Alfonso right now, because there is nothing they can do to stop this Olaf right now.
There is not, and not even the Norse gods can stop it. They can only see it coming, which is exactly what this Olaf is. And unfortunately for Church of Alfonso, their Book of Revelation just hasn't been written yet.
Yeah, it appears not quite. We're not seeing any sort of way to stop this Olaf coming through, going back, grabbing some more items. The Black Cleavers finish, the Swiftness boots there for a little extra movement speed, a stopwatch for good measure. Oh my goodness, you can't kill him.
No, you cannot. And I see there's one thing I am a little disappointed by at the moment, and that is the fact that we only have a Dark Seal on the map. It has not been upgraded yet.
I mean, that's fair enough. I'm surprised that that Brian Sang never built one. I know that you're going for this supportive build, but you're playing Yuumi and everything's going to plan. Pick up that cursed book, make it spicy.
LTY knows they're on the other side of that wall. He wants to throw out a death sentence, but knows how bad of an idea it is. Freelancer getting exceptionally low as RHC is able to pepper him with a couple of pot shots, get that passive stack off, and able to get a lot of damage. In the meantime, though, in the top lane, we have Utility Monster going into the insane Ragnarok that we know he can do, jumps right onto the Draven, and this is not League of Draven, this is League of Olaf. And then we see him once again chasing down Cold Blaster. He gets knocked up by the Rupture, and that is going to be poor old Cho'Gath trying to get away, but there is just no way to stop this Viking.
Absolutely not. Once again, the UB composition of everybody presses the R key. Church of Alfonso dies, coming through with great effect. It's only only 2 members of the Draven and the Cho'Gath that go down, but I expect UB to turn to that Baron.
Yep, we're going to turn right on this Baron. This is going to get burst down so fast, and we do see a couple members of Church of Alfonso trying to come check it out. Probably not the best idea, my friends. You've got a Mumu coming on the back line, trying to loop around through the bush. He does walk right past Civlox. Civlox going to just knock him up, though. Get himself a nice root. Utility Monster throwing an axe over the wall. Lantern's going to get the poor sad mummy out of there in time. He's going to try looping around once again, though, and he's just going to walk right into his death as his end is nigh. And in the mid lane, Freelancer picks up a kill on the Akshan, and that is going to be Baron Nashor over to the Universal Basic Income.
Yeah, and I get it. It's a miracle play. You need to make something crazy happen, and, they tried to make something crazy happen. But the crazy thing was ultimately the suicide play that came out from Paytime, from RHC, trying to make something happen where there's nothing to happen. One death on the side of every single YUBI member. Not more are going to be found in this one. They've got a 12,000 gold lead at 25 minutes. They have the Baron. They're on soul point. There is very little that can go wrong for them at this point, as we're just waiting for Civiloc's ultimate to come off of cooldown at any second now. Yep, and now it's up, so Utility Monster's ready to get onto the map and just take over the game.
That is such an unfortunate thing to see, and sadly, I feel like you've got a Kraken Slayer on the side of Akshan, but that's just the attack speed is not quite there. Draven is just trying to stay alive with that shield bow, but is not able to put out enough damage. Freelancer in the mid lane blocking basically every auto attack, just bouncing those spinning axes. Utility Monster is jumping right in onto this undead Warden and taking him out, so he's picking himself up yet another kill, and this Baron push is probably going to be game.
Yeah, I don't see that there's any way that Church of Alfonso can stop it. They already found the Thresh, only have to expend the Sivir ult, so it's just a matter of time. Yes, there's 3 people in the mid lane. Yes, that push is being stopped, but there's an Olaf with a Yuumi on him in that bot lane that has no answer.
Yeah, that bot lane is just taking so much tower. Eventually, that turret's going to fall, and unfortunately, that means that they're going to have Church of Alfonso rotating down here to try and stop him. Right here, look, Utility Monster unleashes the Ragnarok, goes in, jumps on top of the Akshan. You know what? Okay, that's a little bit too much for me to kill, so I'm going to go over here and go down and attack the bot lane right here, and he's going to do some damage over there on that side. The axe is coming out. We have Galio going golden under the turret, and just look at this. Universal Basic Income cleaning it up. They have not lost a single member after the 5 deaths. Everyone died once, and that was it.
Yeah, beautiful. The composition, beautiful. I mean, I'm terrified. I don't know what you do about that. Absolutely very well played from the side of YUBI. That will secure them their first seed overall going into playoffs. Obviously, Utility Monster putting out absolutely absurd amounts of damage. I do want to throw a little highlight to LTY. I think they played really well on that Thresh, but unfortunately this is the composition where CC doesn't mean diddly squat, as YUBI picked this one up cleanly.
Yep, YUBI putting up the number 1 here in the graphs, the pointer finger right there, and with that, securing that first seed is such a big deal. It's going to mean that they have their choice of opponent in the very beginning, so we're going to have to find out exactly who it is they're going up against, and then we'll be taking a quick break here, folks. One last interview. That was the last game of our regular split. War Leader, thank you so much for joining me for this.
Of course. Super fun to watch.
I know, it's crazy. I want to say Church of Alfonso did an absolutely fantastic job putting up a huge fight here. But you know what? Regular split may be over, but the playoffs are just around the corner. We'll be right back.
The drop. I'ma have to bust it. I'ma have to bust it. Bust it. I'ma have to bust it.
Hello, folks, and welcome back to the Friend or Foe series. Last interview of the day, we have got Mr. Chunks and Jeff God Gamer returning to the interview desk. How you guys doing?
Wow, I'm doing great. Just gotta win.
Just kind of
Yeah, it is always enjoying seeing my team win and cementing ourselves as still the best, even though I'm still not there.
Yeah. So I've got a couple of questions for both of y'all. First off, this draft versus Church of Alfonso, Mr. Chunks. What was kind of y'all's expectations going into this? Because obviously you pick up the cat, and we're clearly trying to run a crazy comp with that one. What was that, like, all intentional, or is it off the cuff?
We had to play a YUMI game before the season ended, and we ran out of games, so this was the very last game we could play YUMI in before playoffs. So we picked YUMI, and then they picked a Mumu jungle, so we instantly picked the Olaf, and it all kind of came together.
Yeah, it was interesting to me to see COF, once they saw we picked Yumi, they realized they had lost draft and they started to panic. I know Cold Blaster even decided to leave bot lane just so he didn't have to play against Brian Sang signature champion. So it's good. It was good to see Beshi back in the bot lane, but Cold Blaster needs to get over his fear of cats to be successful in playoffs.
You know, that is kind of something you've got to make sure. You can't be fearful when you're facing death like that, especially with a Ragnarok coming running in your face. That Olaf was absolutely terrifying as this game progressed. So I've got to ask, Jeff, was this your demonic intervention from outside the team?
I definitely think it's sort of on brand for us to play Yumi. I think we would have played a lot more if I'd still been playing. I think we had to refocus once we had the roster swap. But Mr. Chunks came in sort of unexpected, and he sort of filled the role that he needed to be greatly. And I think he did a really good job in the past few weeks. He's looked pretty good in all of his games, and it sort of shows to me personally that UB is playing more than one dimensionally, which is definitely exciting to see. But I'm really proud of how Mr. Chunks did the past few weeks. I definitely want to try to be back for playoffs, but if I'm not able to, I think we're confident that he will still be, stronger than every other AD carry in Luna.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you notice, the very first game I played was the Ezreal game. We didn't have any practice in. I was just kind of thrown in there. I assumed the UB team knew exactly what to do, so I followed every single call. Turns out Jeff contributes a lot to the comms. So when I started thinking for myself and trying to be a Jeff cosplay, then we started doing a lot better.
Ah, I see. Yeah, it's it was very that's kind of one of those things that I know some other teams were poking at. We're saying, hey, because the fact that Jeff's gone, we're obviously starting to see some weaknesses here. Good job shoring those up. So going into playoffs, I've got to ask, what is the team that you kind of think is your potentially biggest rivals?
Personally, looking to playoffs, I think we sort of have the same expectation. That the only team that can beat us is the 4 seed BBZ. Once they get into 4th seed, it's just their comfort zone, and they know how to take over games from that 4th seed. But there's no losers bracket this time, so we will have to watch out for them. Otherwise, though, I think once we start shoring up our practice and I start getting more comfortable playing the game again, and me and Andy talk about how we want to play ball lane going forward, I think we're probably just gonna have a similar performance to last season where we 3-0 to finals and then just win.
All right. Well,
yeah, I don't share that same thought with Jeff. I don't think BBZ's competition. I think the only team that can beat us is ourselves.
You know, like, we are our own worst enemies. You are not wrong about that. So with that, my absolute last question, because I realized this. You all only died once during that game, Mr. Chunks. Was that kind of like, you're like, okay, we'll give them each one sort of situation?
Well, every game that we play, we make fun of the person with the most deaths. So we decided to be a team and not make fun of anyone this game by all having one.
You know, that's what I call teamwork, making the dream work. Great job, Universal Basic Income, securing yourselves first seed. Do you have anything you'd like to say before we close off this broadcast?
Yeah, shout outs again to just sort of all of the production staff running. I know when people found out that I was in an accident, everyone reached out to me and made sure that they're letting me know that they were there for me, and if I needed anything I could reach out. And it just sort of that community feeling that FOF gives isn't really represented in a lot of different other leagues, so it just sort of makes me really happy to be a part of this project, and we are gonna win playoffs. Just that's that.
Yes, it is, and we greatly appreciate all that you players do for us as well. It's been absolutely fantastic having you all here, and it's been such a journey. I know that I can speak for all the production staff saying we love putting on this performance for you guys, and you guys are just making it a whole lot of fun for us in a lot of different ways. So I want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts as well to you and to everyone else who's watching. So with that, we're going to go ahead and close out tonight's broadcast, folks. We want to say thank you all so very much. A special thank you as well to our sponsors, Logitech Gaming and Adobe Creative Cloud. We greatly appreciate your support over there. Remember, we're going to be going on a short little break here before playoffs actually kick off, which is going to be on Thursday, October 14th. We've got the quarterfinals between RLS and CFG. That is going to be a best of 5 series, so be sure to drop by for that. It is going to be one heck of a matchup. We are really looking forward to that. So everyone stay safe out there and have fun on the Rift.
Bye.